So today we are joined by a very special guest who flew in especially for this and a bunch of other meetings as well. But I would like to think it was for this. Zsuzsa is the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Antavo. Take two. Antavo creates loyalty programs for major brands such as BMW, Benefits Cosmetics, PepsiCo, AB InBev, KFC, United Colors of Benetton, and a few other companies which you must check out. Zsuzsa is a former journalist who was a radio journalist of the year in her native Hungary, if I remember correctly. When she's not busy with work, traveling, learning new things, she helps out her dad with beekeeping. So our sweetest guest yet, I guess, technically. Antavo recently launched a global customer loyalty program. Antavo recently launched a global customer loyalty report for 2024. We hope to get an insight into what this is about and find out more about Zsuzsa. So welcome to the show, Zsuzsa.
Thank you very much for having me.
Firstly, could you tell us a bit more about your report?
Yeah, sure. So we run a software as a service company, and it's all about powering loyalty programs. This is what our company does. It's a software as a service for loyalty programs. And because of our field, this is why we launched years ago already the Global Customer Loyalty Report. And this is an 80-page document. This is our own research. And there are many sources that we use, like we run a big survey with 600 participants. We conducted qualitative interviews and recorded it, 1,500 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And then we analyzed loyalty programs that run on Antavo. It's 30 million loyalty program member actions. So we compiled all this and poured it into this report. So it's like, you can think of it, it's the report of the industry. It's referred everywhere. It's a big work. I see it on your face. Yeah, I know. It's huge work. And it's kind of more that I dare to admit, but it's worth it because it's such a helpful way. It's a great way for us to help loyalty managers, CMOs, to convince the people in their organization who needs convincing about the power of loyalty programs.
So when you actually wrote this program, the report, who was like your intended audience?
Loyalty program managers, loyalty managers, CRM managers, head of CRM, head of loyalty, CMO, even CEO.
Okay.
So those people who think of the growth of the company and customer retention of the company.
And would you is there a bias towards B2B or B2C, or could it apply to both?
It could apply to both, but it's mainly B2C.
Okay.
There is a couple B2B answers in there, but it's really mainly B2C. We have a couple of customers who are B2B, but oftentimes their loyalty program are B2B2C. So it ends up being C, customer facing.
There's a lot of B's there. Honey, again.
Wow.
It goes back to this.
Good.
So firstly, in terms of, I've got a whole bunch of questions lined up for you. My personal question here, what's it like to work for KFC?
Okay. It's amazing. It's really nice. I remember when we agreed that they will become customers and we signed the contract. It was a big chat in our leadership, and it was still in the pandemic era when everyone worked from home. And then, and we are now a remote first company. We still have one office, but most people work from home. And then we had no way of like really living through that celebration of winning KFC. And then I remember calling our now chief sales officer, Sheila Power, saying, congratulations. And then she was so happy that I called her. And then that night, the leadership, everyone posted pictures of ordering KFC from their own place where they are. So it's still very nice to work with KFC because the loyalty program launched and it's a great program. It won 7 awards in 2023 and it's a really innovative program. It's full of gamification.
Yeah.
It's about like increasing the craving in you that you would want chicken. That's the whole idea.
And I was going to say, I think we'll get into more of the gamification parts of the program later on. And, of course, I'm making fun here, but, you also work with some amazing companies like BMW, as well as PepsiCo. You know, there's like a whole range of products. So how do you, from your perspective, how do you look at the requirements of all these kind of disparate customers in a way where BMW is not going to have the same kind of requirements, or even a customer base as KFC, I guess, or maybe they do. How do you make sure that everyone is your products and your strategy, as well as your roadmap, is in line with what the requirements of the companies that you work with are?
It's a good question because indeed the product needs to be very flexible, and indeed we are not industry focused, though retail and consumer goods are the ones that are the customers so we have the most customers from retail and consumer goods. It's very important in order for a loyalty program to be successful that the strategy is right. The strategy is so important, and it's not on us because we are not a strategist. We only provide tech. It's a conscious decision, just like if you think of Salesforce, and there are Salesforce certified agencies all over the world. Antavo is similar in this respect. There is Antavo and Antavo certified agencies all over the world. Those who create loyalty strategy and also those who implement, like system integrators. So I would say that the most important is that strategy gets figured out, and then our platform needs to be very flexible, and it is. So we have this narrow focus of within marketing tech and customer retention, and then like CRM like software, we do a loyalty management platform only for loyalty programs. And then we go very, very, very deep in this. So we can service loyalty programs without points, with tiers. We can service coalition loyalty programs, shopping mall loyalty programs. It's like a special breed shopping mall, because in the shopping mall you have all different POS systems, and they may have their own loyalty programs, and we can service international loyalty programs. So we go deep, very, very deep in this specific area.
So before we hit record, we did have a quick chat about the starts of the company. When you first started the company versus where it is now, has the focus changed? And what your audience intended product or service, how has that evolved over the years?
Oh yeah, it is a long time ago actually when we started, but not that far. We are at London Bridge now, and we started around Old Street with my three other co-founders. We are all Hungarian, and this is why I flew in from Hungary this morning. And engineering and product is still in Hungary, kept in Hungary within the European Union. We don't outsource this, which is like a value for our customers. And back then we started off with we were still in marketing technology, but in the lead generation part. We helped run contests, sweepstakes, but we had a terrible churn problem. And it's just funny now to see how we haven't took action earlier, or we were, I don't know, intentionally closing our eyes on this, but we had like a 30% monthly churn. It's terrible. For
a loyalty company to have
it is not a loyalty company then, And then this is how we pivoted to loyalty. We thought that, okay, so in loyalty, like our customers should be more loyal to us, right? Because they shouldn't just cancel their loyalty program like this. And actually we were right. So now our churn is very healthy, fortunately, and then it's a completely different product. We did this switch in 2015, 16, and then, basically since 16, we are in loyalty. We thought it's like a very small shift, but we were ignorant. We didn't know that it's going to be a huge shift because it's a different product, a different target audience. From small business sales, we went to enterprise sales. We didn't know much about it, but we figured it on the way. And then I'm really happy that we've made this change. When we made this change, I think we were about 15 people. And when COVID hit, we were around 40 people. And in 18 months, we grew to 100. We are 100 now.
Oh, wow. That's a big number. A lot of people. I want to take a quick step back and ask more about your background. And I mean, perhaps this will illuminate the journey that you've been on so far. You started life as a radio journalist, and then you co-founded Antavo, and eventually became the chief strategy officer. Could you provide us a brief overview of how that happened?
Yeah, so during my university years, I worked in various radio stations, and I was always the one who worked on the weekends, at Christmas. So it was something that I've done next to my studies, but it was great fun, though it was before the podcast era. So I felt that whatever I do, whatever I produce, it's gone. When it's aired, it's gone. And it felt bad, because I worked so hard to like collect my thoughts and now they're gone. So I knew I wanted to build something that I can build upon. And I also knew that I'm not that talented in radio. Like, it's not like I just snap a finger and smart things and funny things would come out of my mouth. I knew that I'm not going to be like a big star or something in radio. So this is when, with my boyfriend, who we were in a long distance relationship for 5 months, we basically moved in together, had other 2 co-founders, started a company, the 4 of us, and then it was more than 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. And these were the other 3 co-founders who happened to be from Hungary as well?
Yes.
Okay. And from what you said, you actually started the company in London, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How, that's another question in itself, but I think I want to kind of go more into, Antavo, because, the kind of questions that we kind of, our guests would love to know about would be, creating technology for loyalty programs comes about, and what motivated you to start Antavo? I know you had pivots from when you started to when you actually went focused just on loyalty. Could you tell us a bit more about how that kind of happened? And
yeah.
Like how was it just like a range of products that you offered and thought, okay, loyalty is going to be the one that we're going to focus on?
So we were focusing on customer acquisition and generating leads. And then we had this terrible churn problem. And then we identified like with the small pivot, loyalty could be a place. But then we already saw that there is this big shift coming in loyalty. Because back then, loyalty programs were really about that spend $1, earn a point, this earn and burn, this easy kind of loyalty programs with the transactional element. And then we knew that because we were expert in sweepstakes and contests and games, basically, that we knew that gamification could revolutionize this place. And then this is why early on, companies like who unfortunately do not exist anymore, like Toys R Us, though I know that like special versions of Toys R Us are like awakening again.
Yeah.
So for example, they decided to work with us because first they wanted to replicate their existing loyalty program, and then they wanted to do something with gamification. Unfortunately, they died before, they could do that with gamification.
Toys R Us, rest in peace. I'll never forget you. So going forward into, like, I know we touched on technology, but could you give us a brief sneak preview of, behind the scenes of what it goes into servicing major clients? Because yes, you've mentioned that your focus is very, very narrow, but when you're servicing a big beast of a company like BMW versus PepsiCo versus KFC, what's it actually like, behind the scenes on a day-to-day basis? Are they very demanding? Do they ask you to make customized programs for them? How does that work from your side?
Well, some customers are really demanding. Some of their customers are really not. And then what we realized that it depends on how prepared they are in terms of using Antavo. And this is why we launched an academy, Antavo Academy, which helps Antavo customers, but also partners like system integrators and partners like loyalty consultants to learn more about how Antavo works, what are the limitations. And we learned that those users who really know Antavo, they are happy. So we just want them to know the most that they can, so they can launch their new tiers, programs, campaigns, whatever they want. We just want them to be power users. If you think of HubSpot or Canva, they have, or even Salesforce, they have these excellent certifications. They have excellent education, and they are on the way to get there. I don't think there are no thousands and thousands of Antavo certified people just yet, but we are on the way to get there.
Okay. The next up, I think this kind of relates to marketers becoming better, rolling out loyalty programs. What challenges do businesses typically face when their loyalty programs, when they run their loyalty programs, and how can marketers effectively review and revamp them? From more from marketing perspective than from sales, I guess.
So the challenges of running a loyalty program is that if it's an already running loyalty program, then there are two burdens usually that marketers face. One is the technology can't do something. The technology can't assign those coupons, or the technology can't reward other than transactions. So there is some limitation, and this is when like they have this little light bulb above their heads thinking, yes, we need to do something. Yes, we need to figure out how we re-platform, because this can't go like this any longer. So there is this frustration really right now at many businesses who run loyalty programs. And the other is that there is, in case of a legacy program, whatever change they want to do, and then maybe they are able to do this change, it's just so slow. Because if it's done with a custom development, or if it's done with like a big company whose goal is to sell man hours or person hours, it's just difficult to get these things done. So you would request something, and then it's written down as a specification, it's taken away to figure out how it should be done, and then it's being done and then sent back to you, then you review it, you okay it, and it's like, okay, so maybe it's like 3 weeks, or maybe it's 2 months. So because of this technology limitation, and because of this long process of getting things done, this is when usually companies re-platform. And oftentimes this re-platforming and revamping the loyalty strategy too, it comes together. And we learned this from this global customer loyalty report too, that 6.5 out of 10 companies 6.5 out of 10 companies would like to re-platform and revamp together. So
taking a slight step back from that, someone's watching this, their company doesn't have a loyalty program currently. What advice would you give them? What's the first thing they should do?
Have something on a piece of paper, which is like 1 page long, and hire a loyalty consultant who is an expert in loyalty programs and your space. And I'm happy to like provide with who that person should be, because we have such a big network of partners. It's not us, but our partner networks to help figure strategy. Once strategy is done, once the buy-in is given in the organization, this is when you can start to think of tech, not earlier.
Okay.
We've burned ourselves before, because we signed deals with big companies who never launched a loyalty program because they didn't have the tech figured out. They didn't have the strategy figured out. And then we were trying to like be there to implement what they wanted, but they didn't know what they want. So now we learned from this. Strategy always comes first.
So come up with a strategy, make sure this is something you want to do, and then reach out to a consultant, and then speak to a company like Antavo.
Yes.
Next up, in terms of having reviewed your website and also your online presence, what have your diverse experiences influenced? I guess this is more a question about your background. You've got a relatively creative background, being a radio journalist and working, being a C-suite of a technology. These are kind of very, very different hats. How has your diverse backgrounds helped you market Antavo to the mass audience?
You say it's a diverse background, but I say it's the same.
Okay.
Because what I've done in the past, I don't know how many years, since I was 18, that was 18 years ago. So since what I've done in the past 18 years, it's talking to people so they would understand what I mean. Because this is what radio is about. You talk to people and then you want to get your message delivered. And then when founding a company, you talk with customers so they know how you can help them. Or when talking to investors, you just make sure that they see the value of what you do. Or even working as a leader, that's the same thing. You talk to your colleagues, to your peers in a way that it's okay to work together, that we do get things done together. So I don't think it's like very, very similar, And even if when I'm in a podcast like this, or when we're running our own video content, for example, it's really, really the same thing, just a bit different formats.
Essentially, it's about focusing on a message and making sure you deliver it to the right audience in the right way.
Yes.
Which sounds a lot more simpler than it is. And I can tell you that from my experiences, and from yours as well. Next up, in what ways can gamification be employed to enhance customer interaction and loyalty market insights? I know that we spoke about this briefly with the KFC app. Could you tell us a bit more about how you integrated gamification into what they offer?
Yeah, so it's such a great loyalty program, really. I'm not surprised of all these awards that the KFC loyalty program got. So it's in KFC UK and Ireland, and it's the KFC Rewards Arcade. This is the name of the loyalty program. And then they used to have a loyalty program already that rewarded their most loyal customers, but they wanted to take a step back and reward those who have the potential of being a loyal customer, but they're not yet. So basically what they've done is that they launched this arcade style app, which is like a mobile app where you can play this Hammer Time and other arcade-like games. And the idea is that when you play these, you know that it's a fun game, but you know it's KFC, and then you can get these incentives to go into the restaurant or order online. And it starts with making a purchase first. So first you make a purchase, then you have access to playing these games. And after that, you are invited into the restaurant or order again. So all they want is to increase or to have this craving for chicken. And I think that they've done this brilliantly.
And from your side, how was this an idea that they came to you with, or was it something that you kind of came up with together? How did that work?
It's an excellent example of companies working together, because the agency here was RAP the agency, and then they came up with the whole concept, and then it is like a beautiful execution. I'm just so happy it went so well. The implementation, and they are happy customers now.
Everyone's happy. Chicken lovers will get to play with the app, and they get discounts and further rewards by being a loyal customer, and KFC keeps their users engaged. And yes. I guess their super fans kind of involve them in their brand even more. When you're not thinking about chicken, you're playing a game related to a chicken restaurant, so it all fits in together. I'm going up too big on KFC here. It's just because I'm a big fan, but annoyingly, and this podcast may end at this point, I don't actually have the app yet, but I'm going to download it straight after this.
Good, you should.
By the way, what's your favorite loyalty program that you are running yourself and that you're a customer of?
I really like the Benefit loyalty program, Benefit Cosmetics. You can collect hearts, you can get this early access to products and then samples. It's just really, really nice and sweet, and they have nice plans for the future. Perfect.
Next up, you're involved in creating some of Antavo's marketing videos. Can you share your insights into the creative process and the impact this has had on your brand?
Yes, and it's such an interesting topic. I love it so much, this topic. So I'm Chief Strategy Officer, and partnerships and marketing is reporting to me. Our marketing team, a wonderful marketing team, is the one who's creating the video content. And I personally have a lot of part in it, because when creating a new concept, we usually create it together. And then we're great, I have to say. We're great really at this marketing thing. For example, if this report, before it was published, 1,500 people signed up to the webinar for publishing. When we revealed it, when we published it, it's in B2B. These are
that's unheard of.
It's astronomical numbers. So with video, we have a couple of nice formats that we created over the course of the last 1-2 years. And it all started by hiring first a part-time, then a full-time videographer. So we are a software as a service company with a full-time videographer. And that person does product releases, product videos, also creative videos like podcasts, and also a series called Mission Loyalty.
Yeah, I'm keen to check this out, so I'll add the link to that on the notes here.
Okay, or if you wanted, and if the formats allows, you can even cut parts of it, because we wanted to create an educational content, which is also quite short. So it's like 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes long videos. And we just didn't want to have like a talking head, but we wanted to do it with a spin. So we created the persona of Agent Jess, who is doing all her spy tricks to go after figuring out what makes a great loyalty program.
Ooh.
So this is what mission loyalty is. Mission loyalty. Like Agent Jess receives a call to figure out what makes loyalty programs great. So we shot the season 1. I don't know if we get there, maybe we can shoot a season 2, but it has such a nice reception. And I'm so happy that we've done this.
There's like a nice story arc, even from what you've mentioned. How did this idea come about? Because, a lot of SaaS companies, sometimes they take themselves too seriously, and they tend to kind of be very, okay, this is what our customers expect. How did you make that leap from just creating something like an informative talking heads video into creating this kind of narrative or story arc?
Yeah, I know. It's why we did it. Sometimes we have these crazy ideas and then we just follow through, and then amazing things come out of it. Like, let's launch a report which is 80 pages with a huge work it needs to get done, and let's put a biker astronaut to the cover which has a Barbie hair. Let's have like flying whales, zebras, flying whales.
I'm going to say the artwork in this report is amazing, by the way.
We have haikus that are written by our own AI. See?
Rewards that unite customer loyalty shines bound by trust and love.
It's a haiku. So I know that we do things differently, and I think this is why Antavo has a special air around us. We just go for it. We are humans after all, and people, they like fun, they are funny, they would like to be entertained, so we incorporate it into everything what we do.
Perfect. So this segment is just about the report. So you can, if you'd like, you can hold it up. And I'm going to ask you so that we can just make this into a short video. So Zsuzsa, your company just released the Global Customer Loyalty Report for 2024. Could you highlight some key findings and trend in customer loyalty that businesses should be aware of?
Yes. So one is that here's the report, the Global Customer Loyalty Report. We produced this after interviewing loyalty experts. We recorded 1,500 minutes of qualitative interviews. We analyzed 30 million data points from loyalty programs that are running on Antavo. And then we asked 600 loyalty experts all over the world. And then there are a couple of findings that came out of this. First is that loyalty programs work. 9 out of 10 companies with a loyalty program have a positive ROI. In the last year, it was 8. In the previous year, it was 7. So wow. There is this growing tendency. Companies are figuring out how to run a loyalty program, how to make it work, and actually they're measuring it, which is very nice. Also, there is a strong intention to revamp loyalty programs, and it's interesting that companies are thinking of revamping and replatforming at the same time. Revamping is when you revamp the strategy. Replatforming is when you change the technology behind it. And 6.5 companies out of 10 are thinking of doing these two things together.
And how can people get hold of the report if they wanted to download it or get it?
Yeah, they should download it on Antavo's website, on antavo.com. And then so far, it's 2,300 people who actually downloaded it, typed their little email address. So we are very happy about this astronomical success of this report. It
will be 2,301 after this. So next up, these are our rapid fire questions. So where we get to know a bit more about your background as well as your intellectual and interests in what you do. So Zsuzsa, 3 must-read books. It could be B2B or B2C, or it could be any.
I was rolling my eyes because all I read these days is romance novels.
Yes.
I love romance novels because it always has a happy ending.
Yeah.
And then it's important to relax. I don't need to worry about the characters, so they might get killed or something. So apart from the many romance novels that I read a lot these days.
Firstly, what's the last romance novel you read?
I read the 7th book from Bridgerton.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't say we don't bring you interesting book recommendations, okay?
I read a lot, and it thanks to very crowded Stansted Airport, because there were no internet and I needed to pick up something to read, and I'm reading ever since. Okay. But in terms of like actual loyalty books, there are 2 that I think the best today in 2024. One is from Amanda Krumhout, and the title is Blind Loyalty. She lists 101 use cases. It's very simple to read. It's the same structure, and it's 101 use cases. And the second is by Phil Schalper, Loyalty Programs, The Complete Guide. It's basically the textbook for loyalty programs. Universities use it all over the world for their loyalty program courses. And now the second edition launched a couple of months ago. So it's very, very current. They published the first edition in 2022. And it was, I think, before COVID and before this new era. And now it's enriched with the actual today's era. And then just to brag a bit, there is a book recommendation on the cover that you can see. It is written by me.
Wow, I guess that comes full circle in terms of a textbook and it kind of quotes your company. So it's like full circle of loyalty. 3 SaaS tools you cannot live without. You cannot say your own. Okay,
so HubSpot is one. We use HubSpot as our own CRM, and then our funnel lives in HubSpot. Number 2 is Slack. Slack is our office. And then number 3, I think, is LinkedIn. Yeah. We can say LinkedIn is a software as a service.
I was researching you and looking at all the fantastic people that we have in common together, and you could see that as well. So LinkedIn for me is like like I'm a power user. It's one of the first things that opens up in my tab automatically.
Yeah, it's the CRM of today. It's the CRM of the people, of the world.
It is, and if you're in B2B or B2C and you're a marketing professional or you're a professional in general, you got to be on LinkedIn. We had a guest from LinkedIn a few episodes back, and he gave us so much insights into this. So
I need to listen to that episode then.
James Key, and you will be the first to see it. Advice for, you clearly oversee your marketing department, and also you have strong opinions on how a B2B company should be marketing themselves, because you've done it really well. What advice would you give to marketing professionals who may be watching?
Maybe don't take yourself too seriously. You are, after all, selling to people, and then people are just people with ambitions, with fears. They want to look smart. They want to get promoted. They have all these lives that you two have. So I think B2B and B2C marketing should feel a bit closer to each other. And what we do wants to achieve that.
No, and I've seen the artwork here, and when I did my research, you are doing things very differently, and you're kind of almost like treating a customer as a human being.
A customer should be treated as a human being.
Whereas I can't name names, but some companies that we've met, and also some people we've met, there seems to be this kind of decision making by committee, and that really stifles a lot of creativity, sadly. And the end product is very kind of generic and very bland, which your marketing offering is not. And I can see, even just from the few examples I've seen, it kind of really reaches out to someone. So that's amazing. Final words that you want to leave a wonderful and beautiful audience with?
Loyalty programs have their renaissance today. A couple of years ago, like 1 or 2 decades ago, loyalty programs started. And today is the time for them to renew, to enter the 21st century, or the 20th, so to say. And if you're thinking of doing that revolution at your company, I'm saying go for it. Be the person who brings the change. Hire the right people, hire the right technology, because your customers will thank for it. And also all your colleagues and bosses and board and management.
Thank you. And how can people get hold of you if they want to get in contact with you or find out more?
The best is if they added me on LinkedIn and message me. Honestly, I receive so many emails these days that it's so hard for me to go through my emails and dig out what is important and what is a direct email that I get from lovely sales development representatives. So if you could add me and then text me, it would be best. And then you would reach me directly there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Zsuzsa. And we hope we will see you at another episode, because you've given so much insight into the big companies that you work with, as well as, clearly you're doing something very different from a marketing perspective inside of your company. And we'd love to kind of explore that in more detail in the future.
Happy to come next time too. Maybe next year, this time when we launch 24.
Oh, we
25.
can't wait for that long. The next one we could be in Hungary, in Budapest.
Oh yeah, maybe.
A lot more glamorous location than here. Thank you all for watching, and we really hope you will join us at the next episode. Please feel free to check out some of the previous episodes, and thank you again to our lovely guest who's flown in all the way from Hungary, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Okay, cut.